All right, everybody. Hopefully you are doing well on this Sunday evening. I'm meteorologist Griffin Glasscock, and we are going to be talking about that threat of severe weather as we go into this evening. The good news, and first and foremost, the Storm Prediction Center has downgraded the risk of severe weather to a marginal risk. So we're looking at more of an isolated threat of severe storms as we go into the later part of this evening and into your early morning hours of your Monday. Now, the main threat with these storms, it's that damaging wind threat where we could experience some damaging wind gusts and also flash flooding. With the heat and humidity we are seeing with this front that is developing out to our west, those tropical downpours where we could see heavy amounts of rainfall in a short period of time. But as far as the tornado threat, that is very low, and with them dropping it down to a marginal risk, I do think that it is mainly going to be that isolated threat where we could see some strong wind gusts and then also those heavy downpours with the rainfall. All right, as we look at that risk, I do want to take you. So originally, if you joined me at 5 o'clock this evening, we did have the northern half under that slight risk. So that yellow, but now you can see the majority of the tri-state, it is in the green, which is that marginal risk, and the slight risk has pushed off to the east. So that is some good news for us, but I don't want you to put your guard down because some of these storms could definitely be on the stronger side. And with it being an overnight threat, it's always good to go ahead and make sure you have a way to get those watches and warnings just in case we do see any of these storms become strong to severe. I will tell you the National Weather Service is not expected to put out a watch, but if they do start to see any changes as that line moves closer to us, we'll make sure to let you know. All right, well, moving on, as far as what we're seeing currently across the tri-state, we are dealing with dry, quiet conditions, not really seeing anything in our area. Now, as I move over, you can see out to our west, we do have a few of those storms, especially in the St. Louis area and starting to push into some of our southern Illinois communities. I do want to show you, though, the satellite view of this line that is developing out to our west into Missouri. A severe thunderstorm warning with this line out in around the St. Louis areas where we are seeing it just to the west of St. Louis. But there is the line that is going to start moving in our direction and should be here closer to the time frame I put out was about 10 o'clock tonight to about 3 o'clock in the morning. So that does still stand. So anything after 10 o'clock closer to midnight, that is when we're going to start to see this line move into our area. Moving you into that timeline to kind of give you a better idea, I'm going to show you two separate models to kind of give you an idea of what we're expecting with these storms. So here we are around 11:30. Most of that is not even to our area yet with this particular model. So putting it in motion, you'll start to notice these storms starting to push into our far western communities into southern Illinois. Now this timeline has it around 2:30 in the morning. I do think that is a little bit delayed. We'll continue to see those storms push across our area, and it does look very isolated with this particular model and staying primarily around the Ohio River and to the north, mainly around I-64 more specifically. Here we are around 7:30 in the morning. So for you all making your plans for tomorrow morning, what you need to do, I do think most of this will be wrapped up. You may have a few stray showers for your Monday morning, but otherwise the severe threat should be over with at that point. Going through much of your Monday, we'll see a mixture of sun and clouds, maybe a stray shower here and there, but most of us, I would like to think, will be looking forward to a little bit of relief, because with those isolated storms that we're tracking tonight, that is going to be coming with a cold front, and that will bring us some much needed relief for your Monday and Tuesday. All right, so here's the second model I'm going to show you. Here we are around 11 o'clock, seeing that line push in a little bit sooner than the previous model I was showing you. Now, as we go into the overnight hours, it does look to be a bit more widespread widespread, but I still think even if we do see widespread rainfall across the tri-state, most of the threat is going to be isolated to where some of you all may experience some strong gusty winds while others may not see it at all. Same with that heavy downpour threat that could lead to some localized flooding. I don't think that's going to be for everyone. I do think, though, some areas, especially north of the Ohio River, could experience some of those tropical downpours overnight. Here we go. Here we are around 3 o'clock, and that's kind of when I cut off the timing. I do think most of this will be wrapped up, especially the severe weather threat. We could still see a few of those showers hanging around into the early morning hours, but by daybreak, most of this should be wrapped up, and we will be looking forward to that relief, of course, and then drier skies as we go into the first part of this week. Like I said, though, for your Monday, you shouldn't really have to worry about any heavy downpours throughout much of the day. You may experience a stray shower, possibly some sprinkles. Otherwise, we're going to be working in some northerly winds, and that'll bring us a cool down where temperatures are going to be hanging out in those upper 80s and lower 90s. So here's a look at the storm risk for tonight once again, and I do think this may be a little bit on the higher side, but flooding and damaging winds, those two are going to be the main threats with tonight. You may see some pea-sized hail or hear it. Of course, a lot of you all are going to be in bed at this point, but that's about it for the threats. Tornado, we need instability and shear, and we really are not seeing that shear with these storms as they come through, and that's why that damaging wind threat is going to be on the higher side as these storms come through. But even saying that, I mean, you're pretty much in that low to medium risk. And then, of course, you could see some localized flooding. Now, as we take a closer look at that wind risk, you can see under that 5%. So that's why I say it's very isolated. There's going to be a lot of us who don't even experience any of those strong winds, just typical showers and thunderstorms. And then there is that flood risk, which does cover the majority of the tri-state, but it is on the lower end as well. Definitely more likely out to our west, and then as it is coming into our area, that threat does dwindle as it continues to move to the south and east. Now, as we look at conditions right now, that's pretty much a recap of what we can expect late tonight and into tomorrow morning, just to kind of give you some suggestions on how you should handle that. It's always good to have a way to get those watches and warnings. Thankfully, this has downgraded, but we could still see a storm or two that could turn severe, and it's always good to have those alerts in the event you do need to take cover or you need to get to lower ground. We've got dry skies, though, at this hour. Not really much happening on the radar, and really not going to expect much to happen until we get closer to midnight. Those temperatures are still very warm out there. 82 in Mount Carmel, 85 in Owensboro, 84 in Mount Vernon, and we are at 81 in Lewisport. Feels like temperatures definitely better than where we were this afternoon. Man, it was brutal. I mean, the last several days have just been so uncomfortable, and I do think that much needed break that we're going to get for your Monday and Tuesday and even into the back half of this week will be much needed, and hopefully you can get out and get some fresh air and not start breaking a sweat as soon as you get outside. All right, as we go into tomorrow, this kind of gives you what you can expect throughout the entire day. It's going to be warm, partly sunny. You may experience a stray shower, like I was saying. Temperatures are going to start out in those lower 70s, so you may still feel pretty warm in the morning, but it's not going to be nearly as humid. And then we'll continue to see those temperatures rise into the mid to upper 80s. Some of us may even reach 90 tomorrow, but thankfully the humidity will start falling off as we go into the next several days to where it won't feel so unbearable. My goodness. Now, moving ahead, this is post Monday and Tuesday. We're looking ahead to our next storm just so you all can be prepared as we go into this week. So Monday and Tuesday, really not much happening. It's going to be pretty tranquil across our area. Our next system that we are going to be watching comes in Wednesday and into Thursday. This is also going to be accompanied with a cold front that will bring temperatures down even further as we go into Thursday and Friday. Now, this model in particular, the GFS, is showing some activity Wednesday afternoon and into the evening, and we are expecting to see scattered showers and storms Wednesday afternoon and into your Thursday. I do think the greater chance of those storms are looking more like Wednesday night and into Thursday. As far as how long we're going to be dealing with these storms, by Friday, I do think most of this is going to be out of here and temperatures will be feeling much more comfortable. But that's our next system that we are keeping our eyes on. Otherwise, we have some really nice weather in the tri-state, especially as we're going into the back half of August. So tomorrow, here we are in the upper 80s, a 20% chance, just primarily due to those stray showers and some of those hanging on into the early morning. Tuesday, dry, highs in the mid to upper 80s. Wednesday is going to be pretty toasty. I do think humidity is going to kick in a bit, but that's out ahead of that system that's going to push through Wednesday and into Thursday. You'll notice temperatures drop off pretty drastic as we go into Thursday, and then we stay pretty steady in the low to mid 80s as we go into your weekend. As far as rain chances, not looking promising for your Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So if you have those weekend plans, as of now, it is looking favorable for plans, and you don't have to worry about just being absolutely uncomfortable and, like I was saying, just sweating constantly. I feel like whenever I've been dealing with this weather, and I'm sure you feel the same way, you can't just go outside for a second and get back in and feel comfortable. But that's just the way it is in the tri-state for the month of August. All right, well, that's pretty much the gist of what we are expecting as we go into tonight. Once again, we are under that threat, and I'll go over here and just put it back, especially for you all who may have just popped on to kind of recap what we're expecting as we go into tonight. Originally we were under that slight risk going into tonight, but the Storm Prediction Center has dropped us down to that marginal risk, which means if we do see any severe weather, it does look to be very isolated, and I do think most of us will see some sort of rainfall tonight, definitely for you all north of the Ohio River, and then for the rest of us, we are just going to be looking forward to cooler temperatures as we go into your Monday, but hopefully I know we could definitely use some rainfall across the tri-state, those yards starting to get a bit crunchy on us. But otherwise, it's an isolated severe storm threat for tonight, so I would just still, have a way to get those watches and warnings in the event that we do see any of these storms become stronger. But sometimes what we do experience with these storms as we go into the overnight hours, it does start to dwindle a bit, and I do think with this line that we're watching out to the west, it does look to weaken as it does get into our area. Otherwise, that's pretty much it as we go into your Sunday night and into your Monday morning. I will have more, and if we do see any updates, I will definitely keep you up to date on NBC at 10 o'clock. So if you're still up, please join me and Barbara, and we will bring you the latest weather forecast along with those top stories. Have a good night.